There we go. All right, good. Hi, everybody. So I thought today we'd use a different sources review than usual because we're talking about a bracha. I thought we'd go to the Abu Draham, or some people call them the, I think the, there's another way they pronounce the name. I don't remember how they pronounce it. But people know the Abu Draham. Is that a source that you guys know? Somewhat. Just a very quick background on him, right? He lives in the 14th century in Spain. There's some theory that he might have been a student of the Torah. I don't know if that's confirmed at all, but and he writes a book. His book, the Sefer HaVudraham, is essentially a book explaining tefillah. Is what his actual book is. It's an amazing resource. He gives one of his major things. He gives the halachot of tefillah, but he also gives like proper nuschaot, and also he explains the allusions in tefillah, like what this tefillah is. It's this piece is alluding to this pasuk, or is alluding to this piece in Chazal, and so forth. It's actually an amazing work. Sometimes he might be stretching a little bit, but and it's also like if you ever use like Siddur Vilna, which is one of my favorite Siddurim, Siddur Vilna uses his stuff a lot too for their commentary. So. But since we're doing a bracha, not surprising, he has a section on Birkat Erusin. And he brings the sources. And so I thought he'd be a fun little thing to look at. And it's a nice summary actually of some of the issues we've seen, because he's living towards the end of the Rishonim period. Maybe he's already in Acharon, depending on how you count it. So he's got like the entire canon of the Rishonim in front of him. So with that, Sarah, you want to start us off in the Avudraham?
Sure.
And you can skip the bold. I put just the basic biographic information in there, so.
Birkat Erusin mevarich tchila al hakos brei pri hagafen. V'chatav Rabbeinu Saadia shemevarich gam ken borei atzei b'samim. V'chein katav haram b'mazal tov.
The Rambam Zal.
Zal, but then there's like. It's just printed weirdly.
Yeah,
that's the way they.
Yes, is that the way they do it?
That's the way certain people do it. Who the Haram Bamzal.
I get it.
But it's actually somebody once said Haram B'mazal.
Fine. All right. Okay. Sure. Sheyesh mekomot shenoagim kein v'lo pashad ze minhag. ואחר כך אומר, ברכתה השם, כן מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו על האריות, ואסר לנו את הארוסות, והתיר לנו את הנשואות על ידי חופה וקידושין. ברכתה השם, מקדש עמו ישראל על האריות.
מקדש עמו ישראל. That's
okay, fine.
The next is me explanation. So first we'll start with his nusach, right? What does he have there? What doesn't he have?
He has chuppah v'kiddushin, but he doesn't have Hanisuot lanu.
Good. And what about his chatima?
Amo Yisrael.
Yes, and not right. Al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin.
So, but you're right. He also doesn't have the Rambam's.
He's going to talk. Yeah, he's going to talk about all these gersot in his chutz in a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't have the Rambam's. Right, Rav Nachum, remind us what the Rambam has instead of Vitzivanu. I think right. It's do you remember?
Hivdilanu.
Yeah.
Or
Hivdilanu
min ha'arayot.
So
yeah.
But he does remember we saw in the Gemara that there's some people think that you should have a chatima, some people don't think you should have a chatima, right? And here he has a chatima. So I thought, by the way, I was thinking about this. I had it in my head that there was a case. What bracha had a chatima that didn't fit in that paradigm? I can't remember what it was now, but I also, just as a side note, sorry, I'm going to distract for a minute. The whole thing we saw in the Pnei Yoshua about not being able to be yotze for somebody else on Birkat Nehanin. We actually, there's a custom to do this, right? The Shabbat before Tisha B'Av for Havdalah. I don't know, Rav Nachum, if you know this custom, you follow this. It's in the Ramah, I think. Maybe it's in one of the Achronim.
You give to a katan?
Yeah, you give to a katan the glass.
Why is that? But then he's chayav ki'ilu. I mean, you're saying he's not chayav.
Yeah, it's a question because you are chayav in saying you're not chayav in the yain, but
he's chayav. Why? You could say, you're saying the cup there is not a requirement.
Yeah. So it's not Ma'akev, right? For Havdalah at the end of the day.
Well, so Reuven said also the wine is also not like if you can do it on bread.
That's true. Yeah, but you have to do it on something for Kiddush, for like Shabbat, right?
I would not compare the level of chiyuv.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I would say that you are chayav in the cup. I mean, that's news to me that you're not chayav in the cup. Maybe.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. Okay, so that's the other one that I've seen actually is also for Brit Milah for like Yom Kippur. I saw the same thing happen once, but
I think that cup. Yeah, we'd have to go through and discuss all those cups. What's the
exactly? Yeah. All right. So all right. All distraction though. So, but all right. Good. Yavni, pick up. So we've got his nusach, and to pick up his explanation here.
על האריות, שנאמר, והתקדשתם והייתם קדושים, קדש עצמך במותר לך ולא באריות.
She's got a pasuk for it in Vayikra. I don't think I looked at this one, but what's he saying? Why are
he's saying that והתקדשתם והייתם קדושים, so like you should so I guess it's the fact that there are arayot allows you to be arayot that are forbidden allows you to be kadosh by going with what is permitted.
Exactly, something like that. Yeah. So, but good. He's going to explain it more. So keep going. The Yerushalmi here.
ואמרינן בירושלמי, אמר רבי יהודה בן פזי, למה שמח הכתוב פרשת עריות לקדושים תהיו, ללמדך שכל מי שהוא פירוש מן העריות נקרא קדוש, שכן השונמית אמרה לאישה, הננה ידעתי כי איש אלוהים וגומר. Okay, so in the Yerushalmi it says that the reason why Kedoshim to you appears after the Parashat Arayot is because anyone who separates themselves from Arayot is considered Kadosh, and the example they're bringing is from the Shashunamit, who knows that Elisha is Ish Elohim, I guess because she knows his sexual habits.
I guess I was wondering if that, because maybe she does give him a room to sleep in, right? I wonder. I wasn't sure. I didn't look. Maybe Rav Nachum. I was guessing that it had something to do with the fact that, he goes into her house, he goes to his room, and he doesn't, engage himself in any inappropriate behavior. And that story always did surprise me of like, what's he doing? So.
He also doesn't talk to her directly much. Maybe that's better.
Yeah. So it could be. Maybe someone can look it up. But so okay. So, and then, so Rav Nachum, you want to read too, or you want to just be an observer here?
Well, actually, I just wanted to read you that Rashi.
Oh yeah, please go for it.
The Rashi, not by the Shunamit, but the Rashi by Kedoshim Tiyu, have a prushim min ha'arayot, umin ha'avera, shekol makom she'ata motzei geder erva ata motzei kedusha. I'm just wondering if like a geder erva. It's not just erva. Kol makom she'ata motzei geder erva. That's where kedusha comes from. And here we have a geder erva. We have a fence, which is that the between erusin and chuppah
is a geder
rabbinic law.
Especially for Rashi, right? Which we saw where Rashi thinks that is only derabanan, right, and not the necessity to have chuppah, right?
Well, no, don't go that far. That's just a wrong reading of Rashi.
Oh, good. That was a reading of Rashi. You're right. That's fair.
The wrong reading of Rashi. No, everybody holds that the period that the forbiddenness between chuppah and kiddush and kiddushin is a rabbinic prohibition. That's a geder on erva, and that causes kedusha.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what we're talking about. And that's a Viduram is bringing actually the source of Rashi. If you think about it, that's the source of Rashi.
But that was Rashi on Vayikra, right? So when he talks about the Geder Erva there, is he talking about the that time period? Because that's the psukim about.
No, I think what it's saying is that Kedoshim Tiyu, and it should be Dafka about Gedarim regarding the next halachot. In other words,
Yeah.
the halachot of Erva.
Yeah.
So the pasuk about the psukim about the erva, those are the erva mamash, and then the pasuk about kedoshim tiyu, that's about the geder.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's the way the Ramban reads it too, in a lot of ways, right? He says, what's Kedoshim to you about is like, the Torah couldn't ban everything that was inappropriate. And therefore, you have things that are asur, and then you have things that you have to stay away from the Yisurim even further. And I think that's the place where he brings up the idea that you could actually never violate a deraita and create an entire marketplace on Shabbat. And like, clearly that's wrong, right? Like so.
Wait, where do you want me to read in the Avodah Raham?
Good. In V'tzivanu al harayot.
V'tzivanu al harayot, v'tzilomar, v'tzivanu al harchakat harayot. In other words, not just, that's why I'm reading it, not just the normal arayot of Vayikra, but extra rules. O tzivanu lifrosh min ha'arayot, v'domed lo, v'asitem lechem pesel tmunat kol asher tziva Hashem Elokecha. Klomar, tzivacha shelo lasot. Because it sounds like he's saying, he's commanding you to do, you should make it.
Exactly. So
I don't understand the connection.
So there he's right, because it's asher tzivanu Allah al harayot. He's saying, because it sounds like he's tzivanu to sleep with the arayot is no. Don't misread that. Sometimes we use it in a positive when we mean the negative.
Tzivanu al harchakat harayot. Okay, gotcha. Now he's putting the Rambam's language into the words as they are. In other words,
that's exactly
you don't need to say the Rambam's thing.
Yeah.
Which I brought to you. Shehu gores v'hivdilanu. I don't understand why everybody is quoting this she'ilta, this tshuva, because it's also in the Mishnah Torah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I've seen other people quoting it, so much so that I went to find it. But the she'ilta is more interesting that he talks about it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But did we discuss it in class? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
No,
I was
we'll
actually
see it next week.
Rav Nachum, did you look at the different versions of the Rambam and see if it's in all of the versions in the Mishnah Torah?
I have the Frankel. I didn't look, and I didn't.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's versions of Mishnah
Torah. Are you saying maybe the whole? No, but he brings the girsa. It's a halacha.
I was wondering if the like.
Oh, if the word hivdilanu is in all the girsas.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't check.
And then that's why they're quoting the.
Yeah,
because like they just the version of the Mishnah Torah they have doesn't actually have it.
Okay,
that's my guess. So, but
yeah, okay, but it's all right. I hear you.
But
that would explain it. Va'asalano et harusot. Are you want me to stop here?
No, I read the Perush of Rashi first.
Perush Rashi midrabanan hu shegazar al yichud pnuya. Right, in that period. Oh, in general, yichud is drabanan.
Yeah.
Yichud of that's interesting. What about yichud of a married woman? Is that the right? Perhaps. Pnuya is drabanan. Va'af arusa lo hitiru ad tikanes l'chupa bibracha. So also the engaged woman is not permitted. Is not as forbidden until the chuppah. Ube bracha, and you have to say sheva brachas. Kedamrina, kala below bracha, surah levala kenida. That's the Masechta Kala. Ad kana shem. Va'afa pisha isu zehu midrabanan. This is all the Rashi. Tzrich levarech alav kumosh mevarchim al ner Chanukah b'mikra Megillah shehem midrabanan. So that we've seen.
Yeah.
That right. V'harosh v'ha. I don't know
I think it's actually supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be the Rav Asher or Rabbi Yitzchak or something like that. I'm not sure.
I see. The Rosh is the mistake. Rav Asher or Rabbi Yitzchak. I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Aleph Beit Daled.
I assume it was Av Beitin, but I was
Av Beitin. Okay. Av Beitin. Perush. The Asar. So what does it mean? Asar lanu arasot mediktiv chuppah beoraita.
Hmm.
Because it says chuppah in the Torah. I don't
It
know
does. He's going to say that. Yeah.
Midrashinan Varim ki ye nara betula murasa. So if there should be a woman who's engaged, betula velo buula murasa velo nesua. She has to be a virgin and not a non-virgin, and she has to be engaged and not married.
Hmm.
Amrina and my nesua. And what does it mean she's nesua? I lema nesua mamash, telling me she's actually married. Hainu betula. Velo bu'ula. So then she's obviously a bu'ula. We don't need another one of Nesua. If she's married, she obviously is a bu'ula. And then we don't have to have two rules of Nesua and bu'ula.
Exactly.
Ela Nesua sheniknas ala chuppah velo nivala. So it must be she had the complete marriage, but she didn't have relations. Shma mina de arusa. Oh, I gotta go down.
Oh.
Now I'm going down. Shmamina da arusa akati mechasre mesira lechupa. So we see this is a little bit complicated for me to follow 100%, and therefore we hear that we understand from this that an arusa is still lacking in the mesira lechupa. She hasn't been given to the chuppah. Kevan de ba'ina mesira lechupa, and since we need to give her into the chuppah, shmamina lo kanyale. The gamre, and therefore we say that must not be called fully acquired by erusin. Hilcha chavile ka'arusa achar legvia.
I think havele kirasata cher legabe. Towards him, he's as if she's married to somebody else at this point. So
Hilcha chavile ka'arusa acher legabe.
Yeah,
like she is the what is arusa acher?
I think it's kind of like when he does erusin with her, right? She might as well be have done erusin with somebody else in terms of like her relationship to him, in terms of them.
It should be then arusat. I was thinking that, but then it should really be arusat.
Arusat. Oh, it could be. Yeah, you're right. It should be arusat.
Arusat.
It might just be a typo. So.
I don't know. So I don't understand his proof. I don't quite follow his proof.
Yeah, so I think generally what he's trying to say is because the Torah says, right, it's about the nara me'urasa, right? Nara betula me'urasa, that has to say both those words. That means that there's two steps, right, to it.
Wait, what does it say in the Torah? What exactly does it say in the Torah?
I assume that's the plus. I didn't look it up. Kia nara betula me'orasa. So. And so that sounds like
betula umurasa.
And the assumption here is you can be also a betula and be a nesua. You can be married and be a betula. The fact that it has to say both those terms, it just doesn't say nara betula, must mean that there's a stage of nesuin when you can still be a betula.
Right. In other words, it says arusa betula. So there must be such a thing as an arusa who's betula.
And also,
and therefore
there also needs to be a nesua. There also must be a thing that's called nesua betula. Like the fact that it explained to us that she's me'orasa, not nesua, means that there must be a stage of nesua betula as well.
Okay.
And so therefore the chuppah is the final act of nesuin and not
not bia.
Not bia. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So he's learning chuppah as a deraita thing from it. Is this his limud, or is this a limud that he's copying?
This was the Rabbi Rebbe Yitzchak of Beit Din, so I don't know who it is, but
interesting.
Yeah. So
I thought that only the Talmud could create deraita laws. Although the Rambam seems to say that the chuppah is deraita.
Yeah. So
I thought we said that everyone says that. Like people were saying maybe Rashi doesn't, but
so why do we need this?
But,
so what's their drasha? What's their drasha?
That it's not deraita?
No, what's the drasha of everybody else that it's deraita?
That's a good question.
If this is his own drasha that appears nowhere else, then how is everybody else getting that a chuppah is deraita? What's the normal drasha?
It's a good question.
I mean, this one's normal. I mean, this one's perfectly good. Maybe this is the normal one.
Yeah, So, I mean, this could also be something that everyone just, well, he's going to get into it. There seems to be clearly places in the Torah, or at least in Tanakh, where there is chuppah. So it sounds like it was
Right,
just
like
okay. Root, for
like
instance.
root.
Yeah. So, but okay. So we're Vehitir lanu et nesuot. So maybe I'll read for a little bit. Sorry, I'll come back and here we go. Vehitir lanu et nesuot. Kalamar neshotenu hanesuot lanu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Perush al yedei berkat chuppah shehi goremet et kiddushin. So he's explaining why does it say al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin here, right? That the chuppah, right, is what, I mean, this is really interesting, right? Goremet to kiddushin, it causes the kiddushin, right? Which is a weird statement. V'afal pisha chuppah hi b'achrona hikdim laskira lefi sheba hi niteret ve'alea anu somchim, because really, right, it's the chuppah, even though it happens last, right, it's the one for which she becomes permissible, right? And so we essentially, the whole thing is like resting on chuppah at the end of the day. Aval bali tur ve'arif katvu shetzrich lamar adei chuppah bekiddushin, or vekiddushin, but with a bet, with a vet. Shaolam hu sheta'u lamar adei chuppah vekiddushin mipnei shebeged kefet hasamuch layud hey vav aleph leolam rafa, right? Uvechan smuchahi vav shel kiddushin lahei shel chuppah. So that's right. This is we saw this actually in the Ran. I think it's the first place we saw this. Right, was the Ran makes this argument. Mm-hmm. That it's just it's a bad, the Sofrim didn't know how to copy it down properly, or so they heard the v sound and they just assumed. Ve'amrinan beperek kama de kiddushin amar Rav Huna chuppah kona mikal v'chomer ma kesef she'eno gomer acher gomer achar kesef kesef kona chuppah she gomeret rather, sorry. Achar kesef enodin shetik enodin shetikna that it's right. Alma.
In other words, chuppah works. It finishes.
And so kesef, which doesn't even complete the act, right? All the more so chuppah, which does complete an act with kesef, will complete it without it, right? It should be completely cut out. This is, remember, Rav Huna gets we have it safek, right? If you don't do kiddushin, this is also a good review from way back, that we don't hold Rav Huna's opinion as halacha in general, but Rabbeinu Hananel, I believe, does, and therefore it's safek kiddushin. So
exactly.
All right, master eno din shetikna alma eno kinyan gemor ad shetikna chuppah. Right, this is proof that the whole kiddushin act of, right, the whole thing is not completely finished until you get to chuppah.
Right. In other words, even if we don't agree with him, just from his logic, we can see that chuppah is the final
exactly.
Patish.
Exactly. So, Sarah, you want to take over v'chuppah?
Sure. V'chuppah hu lashon kisui v'nigrit kain al shechuppah.
I think it's al shechofeh. I think it's al
shechofeh ota, right? Betalit. Kid amrinan beperakam de kiddushin lo yuchal imchara v'gomer. I don't have enough context to actually know what he's talking about there.
Go ahead, Rav Nachum.
You need to. Oh, well, I can just say that I don't the whole context, but just the idea is that they would put a talus over the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because by Ruth it says that they would she says cover me. You have to go on, I guess. She says cover me with your talus.
Exactly. Right. This, by the way, I think that's the pasuk from this week's parsha, isn't it? Right. Right. This is the Ama Ivriya.
Mm-hmm. Wait, say the pasuk again.
I think it's the Ama Ivriya, right? Lo yuchala mochra b'vigdova. Is that? I think that's
in Mishpatim,
yeah. So I think this week's parsha. So, but he's going to explain how you get from there to that you can't sell her. When can't you sell her? V'kevan, keep going.
V'kevan shepirish talito alea l'shem nisuin shuv eno resh ailim chara. Right, so you can't sell her if you have her covered in your talit. So that's like almost right. That has a sort of a kinyani feel to it in a certain way. V'chein ktiv ufirashta knafecha al amatecha v'gomer, which is root.
And Rashi, by the way, if you look at the Rashi there, I think he actually says Lashon Nisuin or something like that in Sefer Roots. On that.
Yeah, I have this book called Sharshay Minhag Ashkenaz, and he has a whole long discussion about how really we're doing the weddings all wrong, and we should be putting a talus over the Chatan and the Kala, like you see in all these old pictures. You see a lot of times these old medieval pictures of the Chatan and the Kala, or medieval 18th century pictures with a talus over their heads.
So
and the Germans still do that.
I'd say, yeah, there's some places, Germans, and I think a lot of Sephardi weddings still do that as well, right?
Some Sephardim do, not all Sephardim.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay. וכן אמר הנביא יחזקאל, ואפרוש כנפך עליך וכסך ערוותך. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is right. Of course, this is the chapter in Yechezkel where Hashem essentially like we're like babies, and Hashem swaddles us, but then it marries us essentially, like eventually, and right. So
Uktiv and then we're gonna get the like other version in Hosea, right? Where Stich Lev V'Gomer. Okay. V'hayitor Piresh Chupa hi shemoser ha'av umachnis'a levet ba'ala b'vet sheyesh bo chodesh. Kigon elu hasandinim shekorim cortina. Oh, okay, like a curtain.
Yeah.
Svivot hakotelu, right? So it's like a little. I don't know.
That's what you were explaining to me that happens in Taimani weddings, that they actually.
I think it's Taiman. I mean, I don't know if they still do it, but there's one. I think like at least in the old Israel Museum before they like redid it, there used to be one that was like recreated that had like it was just like a sort of cloth, like imagine a sukkah but like with cloth sides. And
exactly. Yeah.
So like
inside the house.
Yeah.
Or as they built like inside the house, like they cover the walls kind of with cloth.
Yeah, I think that's what he means by that has like a chidush in it, right? That you have some improvement or something new that you kind of put up in the house. That's
you put up,
Chatan and Kala. So. I think
new
it's kind of actually what wallpaper? Yeah.
New wallpaper.
Yeah. So, but
they still make wallpaper.
They do. It'll make a comeback someday. So
I feel like
But
it says levet ba'ala. What does it mean by ba'ala?
Yeah, I think it's like right. She goes to his house, and in the house they build this like structure inside the house that's like special for the Chatan and Kala to like. I don't know if we could make all sorts of nice drashot, I think, about why, but that's the custom.
Right.
Okay.
And that is the chuppah. And
that
is the chuppah.
Yeah.
Right. So in this story, the brachot are happening before this occurs.
Yeah.
Like Sheva brachot.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah. So.
No. Why?
Maybe. No, you're right. Maybe it can be as they go in, or
no, the house. They're having a party in the house.
You're right, and then they have a meal, and then they do Sheva brachot.
Yeah, they do. They do that in her house. It's not that they're going to live there and closing the door.
Yeah.
Everybody's
it's
there.
Like part of the.
It's not yichud. Don't think yichud. It's not that the cheder yichud we do is not this shita. This is a different shita. There's like 7 shitot in what a chuppah is.
Yeah. And we're already getting several of them here, right?
Right. I feel like we need to like map them all. I need to like map them all out.
Yeah, in the Talit one, right? Then essentially to do Birkat Chatanim, you would have to do it while they were wrapped in the Talit, right? They're doing this.
Some people do.
And then
Well, what a lot of people do who want to do that minhag is they also have a chuppah on poles, and then they also have a talit over them. And then they say the bracha like normal.
So,
okay. V'yesha osin bored v'hadas kifi haminhag.
I think it's bevered v'hadas.
Bevered. Oh yes, I see. Like the plant. Kifi haminhag v'mityachdim b'ashnehem. Okay, and they like make it like smell nice.
Yeah, I don't know if he means they do it like the two of them are in there and everyone's around, or they're in there, they do nisuin, and then afterwards they close it up and they do their yichud in there. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure which one it was.
Yeah.
So
okay. V'haomer chuppah hu hasoder shechofin bo harisha.
I think it's
Roshehem b'sha'at habracha lav miltahi, but that's the wrong thing to think. Mid amrina b'masachet
I would actually
sukkah.
say we're going to skip from the rest of this just because we're going to move to just from time, but he's going to
Right.
reject the whole Sudar piece to it. But
Fine, all right.
okay. But now we're going to, because I want to do the Chatima, which is the next piece. So Yavni, skip down to the second page and V'chotem Baruch Atah Hashem.
וחותם ברוך אתה השם מקדש ישראל, מקדש ישראל על ידי חופה וקידושין. וכן הוא בסידור רב עמרם, ויש אומרים שאין לומר כאן על ידי חופה וקידושין, including him up above.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So.
אלא מקדש ישראל בלבד, כמו בזמנים שאומר ברוך אתה השם מקדש ישראל בלבד. וכן הוא בסידור רבינו סעדיה, והריף כתב שאינו בדין מפני שהנישואין שייכי באומות, ולא כדי שישראל תפי מהם, אלא בחופה וקידושין.
Exactly. So Mekadesh Israel doesn't work because what makes us
Everybody has marriage.
Yeah. So it's Bechupan
Even by
Kiddushin.
our
So
laws,
Davka, it's the חופה וקידושין. Okay.
Yeah. So.
ובני נוח עד שתיבעל כדאמרינן בפרק ד'. Oh yeah, sorry, did you?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
ובני נוח עד שתיבעל כדאמרינן בפרק ד' מיתות, בפרק ד' מיתות, בעולת בעל יש להם שנכנסה לחופה ולא נבעלה אין להם. So they don't have the status of being married without having had relations.
Exactly.
But we do. And that's what's special about us, if you didn't know. ולכך צריך לומר על ידי חופה וקידושין, אבל בזמנים דלא שייכי אלא בישראל, יש לומר מקדש ישראל בלבד. But for things that are like more obviously not related to any, not existing for anyone but Israel, we can just say Mekadesh Israel.
Yeah, which is funny because
like for Chagim or Shabbat.
We say Mekadesh Israel v'hazmanim actually is what we say in at least the nusach I have.
That's why I was confused what he was talking about there.
I know. First, he explained that you really should say chuppah v'kiddushin, right? Because we are unique in that we have these two stages of chuppah and kiddushin. We have this extra thing, whereas the goyim don't, and therefore it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then
right,
he's saying,
was that we
aval b'zmanim shelo shaychi ela b'Yisrael.
What he's saying is that we need to, because weddings, you might think that Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Israel is because Israel is the only one who has weddings, but that's not true.
Yeah,
everyone has weddings, and
but
so we need to like specify that it's
and that's why we should say Al Yidei Chuppah V'Kiddushin.
Yeah.
But then he goes on to say, but in the times when this is not relevant, when
in
times when only Jews,
mm-hmm.
I know what he's saying, but when Goyim also have Chuppah and Kiddushin, is that what he means?
I think
I don't think so because of what he says earlier, right? Like a few lines up. V'yesh omrim she'en lomar kan al yidei chuppah v'kiddushin ela mekadesh Yisrael bilvad kimo bizmanim she'amar brachat Hashem mekadesh Yisrael.
Right.
Yeah.
So he thinks that I think that he maybe has a girsa that says that has like mekadesh Yisrael, but not mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim.
Yeah.
I have always thought that one way.
I read it one time, Rav Nachum, like you were reading it, where it's like, well, maybe that there's like a world of like the goyim around don't have marriage at all. But
yeah, maybe you're right. Okay, he's saying aval b'zmanim, but in Yom Tovs,
in Moed, yeah.
Lo shaychi ela b'Yisrael, that only the Jews have.
Mm-hmm.
Yesh lomar. So then we say Mekadesh Yisrael bilvad. So he's actually arguing in favor of saying the nusach way we have it.
But is that a like maybe this is just my ignorance of this topic, but like, is that a shita that is around?
What shita?
That the bracha on for zmanim is just mekadesh Yisrael.
So
as opposed to mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim, which is what we say. Yeah.
Yeah,
other
that's
times
not.
you
I don't
make a
think that's
bracha?
the point. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't think that's the point. I think he's just trying to say, you might need to say, Mikadesh Israel
Then what does he mean
al
when he's
yidei
When
yom tovim
Oh,
al
yeah.
yidei yom tovim. Mikadesh Israel. No, Mikadesh hazmanim v'Yisrael al
I see.
yidei kviat yom tovim v'shabbatot.
Exactly. Yeah, that
Right.
I
Okay,
understand.
I
Right
see.
says
That's
that.
not what we say.
Yeah.
And we don't say such a thing.
Yeah, that's a good point because the bracha Mekadesh Yisrael Hazmanim is that God is Mekadesh Yisrael and Mekadesh Hazmanim, and not that
Right, it's like two brachas in one.
Yeah.
And he's just saying
Yeah.
on the part that says Mikadesh Yisrael, maybe we should change that.
Okay.
So, all right,
That's
good.
the way I understand.
All right, we got a few more minutes. Let's start off with the Rosh here because I think it's helpful. Rav Nachum, I think Yavi, you were just reading, right? So yeah, that's Rav Nachum.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Katav Rosh, Yesh Makshinan al Nusach Bracha Zo, Lama Em Nevarchin Asher Kiddushan Mitzvotav L'Kadesh et Haisha. Like, we could, then it would be a Birkat Mitzvah. That's the Ran asked this question. Oh, al Kiddushay Isha. V'od, Heichan Matzana Bracha. This is video of the Ran. This is exactly the Ran.
Yeah.
Heichan Matzana, well, he's before the Ran?
He's after the run, I think.
He's
Wait,
after the run. Okay.
wait, the run, because the run is a student of the Ritva. Is that right? Did I make that up? Or no, he's somewhere in the Ramban line though.
Yeah, I think it's before the Ritva. Anyway, V'od Heichan Matzanu Bracha Kazot Shemevarchin al Masha Asar Lanu Hashem V'halo Eno Anu Mevarchin Shasar Lanu Ever Menachai V'hetir Lanu Et Shachut. Right, this is all the Ran. Od Ma'inyan Hazkir Arayot Bekan. Why should we mention Arayot? V'od, we're not marrying our aunts or anything.
Yeah.
V'od Ma'lo Hazkir Chuppah Kevan Shemevarchin Beracha Erusin. We're talking about Erusin, not Chuppah. The Beit Erusin below Chuppah. We know Chuppah's going on here. Theoretically, you don't have to say this bracha under a Chuppah. You could say it in any place. Nirali
I
or
think
Nir
it's
Lomar.
Yeah, I think it's near Ali.
Nirali, because it's his own idea. But Nirali ki baracha zo eino baracha al asiyas mitzvah. This is all the Ran. Ki piria rivia hainu kiyum mitzvah. That's the mitzvah.
That's not the run though. That piece is it? The Piriyavia?
Maybe I think it is actually.
Is it okay?
Hainu kiyuma mitzvah. That's the mitzvah. I don't understand that though, because there's no mitzvah to marry a woman. There's a mitzvah.
I
to marry a woman
know
also.
this argument gets interesting. So
Yeah, ve'im lakach pilegish v'ki and Piriyavia. I saw all this before, so I think I saw it in the Ran. Piriyavia eino mechuyav l'kadesh isha. If he already had children by a pilegish. Again, not like the Rambam who says you can't marry a pilegish, but v'ken then you don't have Piriyavia. So what mitzvah do you have here? As the whole purpose of marriage is to have children, and there's no necessity that this mitzvah is going to happen in marriage. So why would you say this bracha ala mitzvah? V'ken hanosei zekena, or you could marry a woman who can't have children. O ilonit. Or a woman who can't have children, or akara, v'ken saris, and a man who is infertile, saris chama, shenasa, mevarchin beracha chatanim ve'ein chiyuv b'mitzvah zo mipnei she'ein ba kiyum mitzvah piriyavia. I don't quite see this, but anyway, v'hilchach, my own lack of understanding. I don't see why piriyavia is so connected to marriage.
Also that means that I know he comes after the Shulchan Aruch, but the whole thing at the beginning of the Shulchan Aruch, that it gets from the Gemara that a man without a wife has no tov and no bracha and all that. It must be seen as like just good advice and not a mitzvah. It sounds like a mitzvah right there. So,
that could be just advice, but it says ki yikach ish isha.
Exactly. Well, he's gonna.
It sounds like that's not a mitzvah. That's not a tzivui. In the sense that it's not a tzivui, ki yikach isha. It's just saying if a man takes a woman, it's not a tzivui.
Good. He's going to argue that actually. So yeah.
Hilchach lo takana baracha mitzvah zo. Therefore, there's no bracha on the mitzvah pruvu, because not everybody. It's not shaveh to everybody. Not everybody can do it. Zo, it could be a saris. Even if you're trying to marry a woman for having children, you're not going to say a bracha because we want bracha to be universal.
Exactly.
And furthermore, you could do Pirivya in a non-kiddushin sort of way, and then you wouldn't want to say a bracha, I guess. You can say, okay, so fine, so say the bracha then too.
Yeah.
I don't quite get that argument. Anyway, velo dami l'shchita she'enu mechuyav l'shchot, but shchita, you could say, wait a second, you don't have to be shochet, you could be vegetarian.
Mhm.
So also you don't say a bracha there. No, but you do say a bracha.
You do.
Velo dami l'shchita she'enu mechuyav l'shchot.
Yeah.
You do say a bracha, right?
You do, but he's going to argue why there where you could be a vegetarian? Why do you say a bracha there then?
So right, they could eat, just like you could marry a woman who can't have children. You can eat food that doesn't require shechita.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a weird psychometric examination here. And even when he does choose to eat, he does bless. Because there he couldn't eat the cow without doing shechita. Now, kiddushin is not a requirement for Peri because by Pilegesh you don't do kiddushin, but you could do right. But you can't eat meat without shechita.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. V'gam hat. I could say I can't be with a married woman. Anyway.
Yeah.
V'gam hatam. Af kekra b'lashon sivud. The Torah discusses the laws of shechita in the language of a tzivui. Shenemar v'zavachta v'achalta says there, do it. Aval haka kativ ki yikach ishisha. It just says in a passive way, if a man marries a woman. So that's even more reason why not to say it. V'o de b'kedush
B'kodshim, I think it's b'kodshim. Yeah.
B'kodshim efshar b'lo shchita. Kodshim, you have to do shchita. How could you bring a korban? You can't bring a live animal. Hilchach mevarchin al kol shchita. Therefore, if that shchita is chayev, then all shchitas get a bracha. Ubracha zo nit kana letate shevach lakadosh. Which bracha?
He's on the Berchat Erosin now. Yeah.
Now he jumped.
Exactly.
I guess. Ubracha zo nit kana letate shevach lakadosh baruch hu.
I think it's Asher
Kiddushanu mitzvotav lahavdilanu min ha'amim. V'tzivanu l'kadesh isha muteret lanu v'lo achat min ha'arayot, not to marry your uncle or whatever. Lahazkir, or you could marry your uncle, you can't marry your aunt.
Yeah.
Lahazkir min iser arusot v'heter nisuot b'chuppah v'kiddushin shelo yita adam v'lomar she'abrachat nitkana lahatira lo. So nobody should come to think that you are now immediately permitted. Lakach is kiru chuppah lomar the davka bracha chuppah hi moteret hakala. That's what permits the kala, the chuppah bracha. V'lachach inami yekdimu chuppah l'kiddushin, and that's why they put chuppah first. Lomar shetir lanu nesuot al yedei chuppah she'achar birkat kiddushin, after birkat kiddushin.
Yeah.
Ad kan divrei Rosh. Okay. So
that's all the
quoting
Rosh.
the Rosh.
So.
Well, the Rosh, he's quoting the Rosh, the Ran.
Yeah.
Did we say I brought both of them in my source?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting way to review it. It's everyone has their own theory as to why we actually say put chuppah first. But here's his the Rosh's attempt to figure it out. So it's yeah.
Right. So all this is the Rosh. Right.
Yeah.
So
all that last section. So. But it's a nice. I think it brings up nicely some of the points that's going on here, which is interesting. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think a lot of people would reject the idea there's not a mitzvah to marry somebody, right? It seems like there is a mitzvah to get married.
He even himself seems to say, because he brings the pasuk.
Exactly.
He seems to be saying there is a mitzvah. Anyway, I don't know if it's an exact quote of the Rosh.
That's what I was wondering. I didn't look to see if it was or not. So
in my source sheet that I shared and I sent, I have the Rosh.
I'll take a look at the Rosh there. And
I think this is longer.
He added words. So,
he added words.
Yeah. So it's also a nice look at the Abu Draham and kind of his project and his work, I think. So it's there is. I'll close with it is interesting that the idea of the Rosh here that people are going to, the Amei Haaretz are going to listen to the bracha and they're going to be like, oh, now everything's permissible, or they're going to learn halacha from the bracha essentially. And I just saw this somewhere where somebody learned halacha from a bracha. I think it was the Beit Yosef about stuff. I can't remember what it was, but it was the Kesef Mishnah. I got to remember back where it was. I saw him. He derived something from a bracha. So you never know. Maybe it is a good.
Right. I always think that the bracha is there to tell everybody, the person in the background, the crowd is saying, why are these people getting married? What do you need marriage for? Just live together. What do you need marriage for? He's saying, okay, they want to get married. They just want to have a party. What do you need this? So we're telling him, no. Asar lanu et arayot, and I mean, you don't say asar lanu et penuyot, but that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, so there's until you do chuppah and kiddushin, it's this isn't permitted. So it's
right.
Yeah. So all right, everyone have a good Shabbos, and I'll put the recording up. And thank you for the honored guest here. So it's cool.
I was happy to hear everything you said.
So
thank you.
Good. Yeah, I learned a lot. So good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.